What's that?
bypass around here, all the way to Oak Ridge.
That's right.
And then try to sell some more resources now. And stockholders, investors.
Shut the little town down.
Kill it.
So they found it.
Get you killed.
That's one little space there, what less county.
They all work together. I like to talk.
Yeah, that was William, not William, William's dad.
Harbor Freight.
Oh, yeah. And hired babe. He had all that brimstone land, cut it all, stripped, then sold it, and then placed it over there to reclaim. He got his mistress outside. I didn't know that, but we was over there to see the mayor the other day looking for something, and he took us over and showed us. Roy Echo?
No.
Or George has got a shoe. Yeah, I tell you something, but you know where, the lady works where, yeah. She had a invitation to his shoe. And when her husband died, George said, she told me, she said, I didn't have nowhere to go.
Ladies worked over here from, lived down there on 63, so we can ask for church there.
Reed's on the phone. Can you hear us, Reed?
Yep.
Okay, let's go ahead and get the workshop started. Item number one on the agenda, you have your reports from your boards, committees, and departments. Does any of the council have any questions on any of those reports?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to administration. Discussion on sidewalk along Depot Street. Mr. Hank Hamlin. Mr. Hank Hamlin is here if you want to come forward.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Debbie Berna. She is a occupant of the building at 201 West Central, which is the building where the sidewalk is at Depot Street. She owns her new use spot, and she has a great amount of customers who have issues with parking. As this body already knows, most of you now, working with Jeff and with the city, who's the street guy? Casey. Thanks. They've already identified some issues with that sidewalk. So what we're asking is for that sidewalk to complete along Depot Street from the beginning where it intersects with 63 right there at 201 West Central, up to the point where the back of the, adjacent to the back of the building, that sidewalk be completely removed and put in an ingress egress area about approximately 15 foot wide on one end and another one on the other end. And in the middle, I'd like to put some greenery, mulch it and put some greenery in there to dress up the area. The sidewalk is a serious issue. It is a hazard for anyone walking on it. They've taken pictures. If you've not been privy to those pictures, I'd highly recommend you look at them. The issue with the parking there and the actual sidewalk is because of no ingress, egress for the building. People are driving across that sidewalk and have been for years and years and years. So Dr. Verna here, her issue with the customers she's receiving, they're having to park in the street and other areas. I think it would be a great idea. I think it would be, I highly recommend the city approve this move to remove that sidewalk completely, add an ingress, egress, so we can bring her commerce into that building. And I can dress up that street side of that building and add some real parallel parking lanes, at least 3 or 4 spots right there. I think it would be a great idea. And I apologize for my computer. I got the blue screen of death earlier. My computer crashed. I had to hurry up and get on another one and try to redo these real quick. But here's some pictures if you want to pass those around and circulate them.
Hey, do you have a rendering of what you're wanting to do?
It's on there.
Okay.
Hey, I'm subject to any questions you have.
How many feet do you think of that is a sidewalk?
I had it laid out on the other PowerPoint, but it's right around, I want to say right at 90 feet. I wish Casey was here.
Entire sidewalks.
Right. So Jeff might know. You got those pictures?
I do not. I do on the computer, but not on.
Right. Stan, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Last time I talked to Casey on it, that entire sidewalk, I think he said was 250 feet.
Going on up the entire stretch over by the tennis courts, yes.
Yes.
Right.
If I may, the majority of the sidewalk is already crumbling, where people have, over the years, have traveled across it. And again, as he said, the customers are trying to cross it because it's easier to go that back way, because you know the heavy traffic going through downtown area right there in front of it. It's hard to, people cross and get over or cross the street to come back into the building. But the sidewalk itself is gonna have to be replaced because it is a safety hazard. And it just makes more sense if you're going to replace it to have where there'll be an ingress and egress, people come in and out safer. And it wouldn't be as much, whatever product you use, concrete or whatever, to do the sidewalk. You're not gonna have to do that whole full sidewalk. It'd just be 2 parts. That makes sense.
What about water aversion plan? You've got drains down
So, we talked about that before. I think when we put the berm, it'll be a small asphalt berm go in, that almost like a speed bump, to allow water to continue going down towards 63 for the main drag going through town. Because there is a water spill point right there. It'll be perfect for it. And as far as the area I'd like to dress up, we can put a berm there easily. I don't think that's gonna be an issue at all.
Is Casey not here?
He's not. He had something to come out.
Okay.
He had to leave.
And with the plans that Hank has, because there's gonna be a little part for greenery, it's gonna be more aesthetically pleasing
Oh, yeah, that'd be
there.
nice. We just have to worry about the runoff and not flooding something out.
Really, truthfully, my opinion on this before it comes to this body, I think what needs to happen, I think that they need a professional drawing to present to the planning commission for planning commission's approval due to the fact of the runoff and everything that you're gonna have.
Well, you understand what he's saying, that makes sense. We don't care a bit to help you,
I-
but we want it done right.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and I agree, but however, I would say that this body understands what the necessities are and required. I don't see really a reason why we can't move forward. And I can get that, as we move forward, I can get you something more diligently drawn out. But I think you understand the intent and the specificity of what we want to do. I don't see any reason why we can't move forward.
That fall under planning commission as far as the water.
It would, because hydrology on this property right here, because you sure don't want to remove this and turn water off on the bank or someone else and create a bigger problem than you've got now.
Who did your survey, Hank? We want that.
Dwight Crutchfield.
Reed, would you agree with that?
I think, isn't that normally what we do if we're dealing with city-owned property? Doesn't originate in planning commission anyway? anyway?
It would have to, because there would have to be, you would have to have something, I mean, rather than what you're looking at here, you would have to have something that's actually showing the ingress, egress, the size of the egress that is the correct size, the water flow and all that. And there's nothing on that that shows it on the pictures that we have here.
Dwight can help with that.
I concur, but I would say that the city, I think Casey needs to go there and put a look on it and see what the size, the dimensions of what I don't know if there is an actual size of ingress, egress coming into a parking lot coming from a city street, if there's some sort of criteria or something laid out that needs to be done like that. I mean, I'm not that guy. You have a city guy that does that. But I'd be happy to get Dwight back out there to lay anything out for you need. But I think we understand the fundamentals of what needs to happen here. And I don't see, if this body has an issue with moving forward, I'd like to hear it other than just, I mean, we can get the numbers as we move forward. We can get the dimensions, we can get the links.
I don't think it's just dimensions of the ingress and egress. I think it's a hydrology issue of when the water comes off that hill.
Again, I think that the asphalt berm going through, just like a speed bump going through the mall, that will allow water to continue to spill down forward towards and go down to the decline, or through the decline.
But there's a drain about halfway down that,
Right, and that drain will catch all of it.
so.
And I think that's out of our scope of looking at this, because we're not hydrologists and cannot make that decision. But if you have someone to actually do that, you've got somebody putting their stamp on it saying, yes, this is the way. And I think that's out of our scope of doing what he's asking us to do.
So my question to that would be, in
But
respect.
I agree with you. Something needs to be done. I agree with you.
We're
But
gonna,
we
we wanna
have to,
help.
we need
Right, I
to do it the
agree.
right
I
way.
appreciate it. My concern would be, I mean, that's not really in my scope of duties and responsibilities, that's a city sidewalk.
But you're
And
the
then
one-
these do either be replaced or fixed. I'm saying if it needs to be replaced anyhow, let's do something positive with it.
Well,
I think
we
that's
wanna
well within the
replace
city's
it
scope
like
of
you
duties and
want it.
responsibilities
I
as far as
mean,
maintenance.
you know, it's gonna be your responsibility to pay for it.
I'll pay for the asphalt, we already had a discussion, I'll pay for the
Okay.
mulch and greenery, we can do that.
So we wanna build it your way.
Right.
That you want it, build it and present us with your way.
Right?
And if the planning commission concurs with it and it meets it, you got no problem, cause we're trying to help you do it.
That
We're
sounds
for
great.
you.
I mean, we're not sitting here telling you no. We have to have something that we have some facts on, that we're not gonna create a water issue on somebody else or make it worse for you than what it is now.
Okay, let's go ahead.
So whose responsibility will it be to provide or to get the estimates or, the specs or whatever from the hydrologist?
That will be your all's responsibility to do it, because you are asking to remove it. That's the way it's always been, is it not, Mayor?
Yeah, well, it's gotta go through the, see, it puts us right back to square one, kinda like we are in the building deal. That's why we have planning commission, you gotta go through it. And it's there to protect the city and you. We wanna do it your way. You bring us your way, and if it's the correct way, that's the way we'll do it.
So,
That's all
I guess
we
my
can.
question would be, do I have to start back over and come back to this body before we're moving forward? Or can
You
we-
need to bring it to the planning commission, not here. And it can
I was told
go,
to bring it here, Mayor, that's why,
Huh?
I was told to bring it here.
well,
So
I don't know what
with
to
him
say.
being here tonight, can that get him on the agenda for the planning commission?
Well, sure. I mean, he will need, what he actually needs to do, he needs to get with Dwight Crutchfield,
Yeah.
which started this for him. He needs to do a design for him showing the ingress egress with the water diversion and things of that nature. Then do his application, apply it to the planning commission, and then that's when it will be heard. Because, I mean, they'd be sitting here twiddling their thumbs the way we are. I mean, we can look at pictures all day, but until you have something that an individual has designed, that's what they actually do. They've been doing the same thing. So my suggestion
Sounds
to
good.
you would be, get Dwight to do your drawing, apply that, planning commission, and you should be moving forward. And at that point, if the planning commission approves it, he will not have to come back to this body. He will start whatever he's doing.
So just to confirm or deny, based on the discussion we had sidebar a few weeks ago, I'll provide the funding for the asphalt or any other necessities needed, and the city will provide the labor and machinery. Is that true?
That's correct.
Okay, good. That's good. That's some good advice. I appreciate it. I've got a way forward now. Thank you very much.
Hey, they meet the fourth Thursday of the month.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
And you'll go ahead and put him on the agenda?
well, once he gets his stuff lined up, so he'll go
it'll
on.
be next week.
Probably can't do it for
Get all
Thursday.
your ducks
He
in a row.
won't get it done by
Next
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, it'll have to be next month.
No, yeah,
It'll
just
be
go.
the following, month.
Yeah, have to give him 30 days to get, yeah. Okay.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Good deal.
Hey,
You don't want that to hang up on your wall? See you guys. Thanks.
okay. Item number 2 under administration, Tallytown Festival. We've got Mr. Bill Claiborne here that wants to present some information on the Tallytown Festival. Mr. Claiborne?
Yes. Mr. Mayor?
Hey, Bill.
Heard a nice radio advertisement. the other day.
Thank you. There you go. Tallytown, how many people have heard of Tallytown? Okay, some people haven't. I've been surprised.
I was told for.
Don't know. You what?
Old
Well,
fellas.
You're in Tallytown, your name specifically, you're not Italian, but you were in Domenico Lobertini's building. You had a pool hall.
Yeah.
William Rigetti.
Yeah.
He tried to blow it up.
Yeah,
Now, where was that building?
not finished it. No.
It's not there no more.
No, it's beside of the Royal Pool Room, where the Royal is now, that his parking lot.
It was in that parking lot.
Yeah,
Boom, okay.
that's it.
What we're finding out, I've been involved in a lot of heritage events, festival events. I'm wearing my Louis Blue shirt. This was a LaFollette history that, you know, when I found out about Howard Armstrong through some things that were happening in Knoxville, I couldn't believe, you know, he was from LaFollette. And years later, you know, we get the Louis Blue Festival going, and I think something like this, the heritage of the Italians, with the help of Missy and Linda at the Historical Society, they weighed in on looking up so many records. They came by the droves from Italy, mostly North Italy, through Ellis Island to Campbell County because of the coal companies. They recruited them. But there was family after family, Zucchini, Butterini, Albertini, of course, Lobertini, Maddie, just, it goes on and on. We just keep finding more and more of these families, and they were very integral in developing, you know, bakeries, building buildings, of Lobertini. Loby Blocks, I found out just recently, is even in Brushy Mountain Prison. But so many places, Loby Blocks. Francis Gardens, if y'all remember, that was a tourist attraction for years, was built by Leo and Frank Lobertini. So what I've discovered as we've uncovered so much of this Italian heritage, simultaneously, there's people in the community who aren't fully aware of this. They may have heard some of it, they know a name or two, but they really don't know the extent that all of these Italian families came here, integrated with us, started Woodlawn Cemetery. The old part of Woodlawn is where the Italians are buried. So we want to celebrate it. What happened was last year there was a story on WLAF about the Piedmont Hotel, the Piedmont building. This is the 100th year of its construction, 1923. And when Howard Armstrong, Louis Bluey came, he wanted to make sure to stop and look at it. And there's, you know, of course, the marker in the building. And his best friend was Giuseppe Lobertini, who taught him Italian. Of course, he went on to great fame, being a multilingual artist. When he came back also, he wanted to make sure to go see the Lobertinis at Loby Blocks. So I started learning about how important this culture was to him, through him. And of course, I knew Marie Lobertini, Mary Gray Burns, and their family was like my second family out in Indian River Village. So my heart's real close to the story, and I think it is very significant for Campbell County, because I've looked at these other counties around us, You have to go on up into West Virginia, parts of Kentucky and Ohio to find in Appalachia in the coal fields where there were other Italians. And for Tennessee, in this region, Thomas Zucchini was involved with the early coal that was going on in Lake City. You know, at the Coal Museum, they talk about all of the development of the mines there. We've heard about the Coal Creek War, Fratterville mining disasters. Thomas Zucchini went up to Jellicoe and founded the Italian Blue Gem Coal Company. So many of the Jellicoe people then, when Harvey and Grant LaFollette came here and this town started to boom, they came down here, like the Lobertinis. They were first in Newcomb. You had the Troutmans, they were first up there. The Francis family, they were first up there. They all came down here to get involved in the vision of the LaFollettes to build this town. So, not to go on too far here, y'all know a lot of the history of this town. My heart's real close to this town. My family, you know, I don't know how many of y'all remember my dad and my Uncle John had Claiborne Motors, Claiborne Oldsmobile Cadillac. And we're just very, I am, and those of us remaining, are very much interested in LaFollette having a comeback and having growth. We see what happened with Clinton and the antique stuff down there. Not everybody in Clinton is an antique salesman. So not everybody has to be Italian. It's like Tarpon Springs, Florida. Not everybody was a Greek sponge diver. So when you look at these things, you take what was an essence of a heritage, of a culture, and you use that, or you can use that, to promote what is unique and brand your community. And there's no other town around here that has the Italian influence. They just had the Rosini Festival. 20-some years they've had this Rosini Festival in Knoxville. Big festival. Really nice, a lot of food, but it wasn't based on any true heritage of Italians. It was based on the fact that the opera company wanted to, do all the Rossini operas and just celebrate that. So that's not an authentic thing. Now, I've been involved in tourism. Heritage tourism is a big draw, and I'm sure we can get a lot of interest from the state. I've already sent out messages. I'm getting a lot of feedback, a lot of positive feedback. People are interested in this. What we want to do is to have a couple of things where the city can help. One would be Beach Street. I was wondering if we could have Beach Street closed. The main place, let's see if I can get the map here, I'll show you. This is something else that I've discovered through Louis Bluey and through the White Lightning Festival at Permanent Gap, which I helped start a few years ago, still going strong, is you marry a place to an event. We've never had the Depot Street that was just mentioned, which is that area between West LaFollette and, of course, the new building where the tennis courts are. This right here is going to be a feature, so that it's never really been utilized for anything other than just a shortcut for people. So you've got a street fair that's going to be happening on Depot Street. It's going to incorporate both sides, Sergeant Park and down here Liberty Park, and back over here where the new building is. And then at West LaFollette, we're going to have the main stage with exhibits. Wanda Guy's already got an art studio there. She's coordinating with us. The other thing I wanted to make sure the city knew about, could sign off on, is the fact that we had Chapman Hill Winery agreed to do a benefit type wine tasting. So it's a ticketed event, so you have to wear a bracelet and be separated in the school, so it won't be just open to anybody. But so we're working on getting the license for that, and we want to make sure that the city is okay with that, and that the city would be agreeable to, from Beach Street, where it connects here, where you turn down to the library, over to all the way to the edge of Sergeant Park, even have that closed. Of course, Depot Street would have to be closed. That's where we're setting up a lot of the food trucks, a lot of the vendors and other things, exhibits that we'll have. So some of this has already been discussed with some of the city officials, Johnny, and so we've already had some of these preliminary discussions. So we felt like that it was a good time just to bring it before the council, and again, to see about, of course, we would like to have, you know, some police, to have garbage, just some things that we would coordinate with the city for infrastructure. The utilities, we'll have to have some hookups for some of the food trucks and certainly for the staging. I've got some big bands coming in. The last band that played with Howard Armstrong, Louie Bluey in Boston, they're gonna be coming down for this. So, and again, we have Italian people connected to these families from several states away, isn't that right? That's contacted because we've gone on the internet, social media through Facebook on Tallytown Festival page, and we see people, the Pelizzaris, you know, the current assistant DA in Anderson County, Brandon Pelizzari, and his grandfather's from here. So a lot of these people, Rotella is another, Al Rotella, the coach, you remember him, right? So he's not with us anymore, but his family in Knoxville is eager to participate. Of course, he's Italian. So we want to also remember that this is part of the coal history. So we're not separating that, we're incorporating that. So everything about Tallytown is a integrated Appitalia is what I call it, where you have the Italian culture brought in, and they maintained it. They had vineyards and other things. You see the arches and the homes and the buildings that they built with the fact of the coal history. And I think there's a renaissance now for coal, and a lot of people bringing that back up and wanting to look at it as a tourist draw. So this really is perfect for downtown LaFollette to have an event that nobody else can have this event. This isn't Spring Fling, Fall Festival, Bluegrass Barbecue, nothing against those things. Nobody else has Tallytown. It's a unique name, and it speaks to so many families. And that Piedmont building, I've got an application in with the state to get a historical marker to have out there by the Piedmont building, because that was the Fleet Oil headquarters. When Jim Haslam worked for Sam Claber, of course, he went on to formulate Pilot Oil. He started there. WLAF started there. One of the biggest insurance companies in the country was John R.W. Brown there. The United Mine Workers had their offices there. There's so many things that were very significant about that building. So we're going to honor the building, honor Domenico Lobertini, the patriarch, and all these other families. And I'll stop now and see if there's any questions or any comments.
Don't forget the draft board.
The draft, oh, that's right, I heard that, somebody said that before, the draft.
Yeah, it's on the
Hey,
third floor. Yeah.
Reed,
Yes,
I
yeah.
have a question, and I mean, some of the council may have this same question, but my question is there an issue with having wine on city property such as West Fall School?
I think there's a new statute on that. It's, for the longest time, I think, they wouldn't allow full projects like that, like food trucks or whatever. That wasn't permitted, but I think it's allowed now. We'll just have to look at that, just to make sure we comply with whatever state laws are out there with regards to
Right, but
wine sales or beer sales. But I think there's some new law on that.
Chuck Compton at the winery, he advised us, he said he's already done these. He says you get a special occasion license, and we found it on the internet. And
But the city, would the city be responsible for doing a one-day permit? You know how we do our own wine permits? Would it be like a one-day permit or something of that nature, Reed?
I think it's through the state. Bill, correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think it's through the state is where that permit originates.
that what Mr. Compton over at the Chapman Hill Winery directed me to, he gave me the link. He said he's already done these. So, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. He's already been involved in these. And so we have, as long as you have a 501c3, which Campbell County Historical Society is, and the money, all the proceeds, according to the verbiage on the website, goes to a charitable cause such as a nonprofit like this. And the Campbell County Historical Society has already taken money, and outside of expenses for this event, the money is going to go to preservation of cemeteries, because where Dominica Lobertini is laid to rest is in an overgrown section of the old part of Woodlawn. So we're going to try to utilize these funds to preserve some of these cemeteries that are endangered.
Bill, if you could maybe email me some information on that, and I'll look into it too, Stan, to make sure we got all our bases covered for that.
Okay, and my second question is, the city is going to help out some with this festival, but it is not a city held festival. Is there an issue using city employees? Because we had the comptroller issue before, using city employees not on city functions.
That could be, I think that could possibly be problematic. This is not a city-sponsored event,
Correct.
so we'll have to probably work out an arrangement with whoever, Bill, or whoever the organizers are on it, but we'll have to work up something there, but since it's not a city sponsored event or anything like that, we can't.
I'd rather know
We
these
can't.
questions up front instead of getting in trouble later for it, that's, we've got to ask those tough questions sometimes.
Well, we've already had one issue, I think, Stan, I can't remember the event, but I think we've already addressed it once. And
Well,
I think
you know that's true, and you and I and the rec center had to address the situation with the cemeteries. We had to put them on notice that, according to the comptroller, that the city would not be able to maintain those cemeteries as of May 1st. And those signs actually went up on the cemetery. They'll go up
This week.
this week at the cemeteries, due to the fact comptroller says they are not governmental owned cemeteries, and we cannot provide the services of cleaning them. It's left up to the ancestors or whomever to take care of them themselves.
And I'll look at, I think we addressed this issue some time ago, and I think I've got an opinion from somewhere about
Okay.
it. And I'll get with you, Stan, and we'll get with Bill about it too.
Okay, as long as we're all on the same page with it, because I think this is a good thing, this Tallytown Festival, I think it's a real good thing. But yeah, we just need to make sure that we have all of our i's dotted and t's crossed in this as well.
There's a couple more things I wanted to just bring before y'all. There are 3 trees that didn't come back pretty far in a little triangular spot. I don't know if I brought my other brochure, it's probably back there. But I have a chainsaw sculptor. These things are real popular. You've seen the bears and the stuff that they carve. And I would pay for it, and he's agreed to carve the middle tree into a Statue of Liberty.
Or not.
I bet it's right over here.
Right by the new building.
Where the 5th,
Right by the new building. The wind got one of the trees, we had to remove it.
What kind of tree is it?
Bradford pears. I don't see no problem with it.
That'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know how long they hold up.
yeah.
That's soft wood.
There's no guarantee it would last a long time, but it would be something for a short period of
It's
time.
been hard, well, it'd be beautiful. Those people amaze me anyway.
Well, it gets a lot of people like to watch it and
Oh, I
come
like
out and look at
watching
it. Because,
Guys cut them bears out.
yeah, he does stuff for the Great Smoky Mountains
Yeah.
National Park, so. And flags on the poles, typically, from time to time, there'll be an event or something. I think the Veterans and 4th of July will be something coming up at various times. We were wanting to have, see if those poles will be available for our event, like for Italian flags.
When is that?
July 29th.
July the 29th. I think they will, because the veterans, I actually met with them today. they're actually going to put veterans banners up before Memorial Day, and they will stay up for a month or so. So you should have time,
Okay.
because we're gonna have a ceremony out here and everything for them.
And will the fencing be taken down around the new building, you know, where the tennis courts were? Is that
Part of it will. Part of the fencing will.
Part of it will, the part where you can still see part of the tennis courts on the
It'll come down.
east side?
It's coming down.
Okay. What about any of the, it'd be, because when we've had some discussions prior to this meeting tonight, that the building might be available for our use, since that's where a lot of this traffic will be for the festival. Will it be air conditioned, or what kind of air situation?
Yeah, it'll have central heating there.
Okay, great. All right, well, that's all I have. So, appreciate it.
And of course, you
Thanks
need,
for letting me know where that building was.
Yeah.
And you had a pool hall.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Bill, make sure that the town, two things, make sure that the Tallytown Festival gets one of the new event permits. There's no charge for the permit,
Oh,
they're in
okay.
the front office. And Tarina Brown asked me to tell you to call her.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate y'all. Okay, moving on. Item number 3, May cleanup winner. That's on there for my purposes. The May cleanup winner will be announced at the actual meeting. Item number 4, discussion on amending purchasing policy. Terry, you want to help me out with this one?
We've got MTS looking at preparing a new ordinance, and she said most of the cities have a $25,000, you can do $25,000 limit on advertised seal bids. If you all approve that, since all the costs have gone up, then the city departments can buy anything up to 10,000. From 10,000 to 25, they have to have 3 bids, and then 25,000 up has to be sealed, advertised seal bid for the council to approve. She said most of the cities have that now, and they're looking to prepare one if you all want to approve that.
If you look in your packet, there's actually a copy of the purchasing policy that we have now, and it's been many, many years since that thing has.
You concur with that?
Yeah, the only thing I said was, we have to, the question, I think Wayne asked the question, could we have some problems that, you know, we have had in the past, but if Stan and I look at those quotes and stuff to make sure that what we're doing, then it should be okay.
Now, this is on just purchases that would be, they have to have be 3 bids on anything above 10,000,
They have to have 3 quotes.
3 quotes.
Yeah, if they can get them. Right now, it's 4,000 to 10,000. You have to have 3 quotes, and then the anything up to 4,000 now, you can buy it, you just go ahead and buy it. 4,000 to 10,000, 3 quotes, and 10,000 or more sealed advertised bids.
I just wanna make sure that we, you know, adhere to our budgets
Yeah.
and not get a little
Yeah.
willy-nilly.
Well, they pretty much know, if we look at it anyway, hey, you got the money or you don't have the money to do it.
Well-
Because anything like that would have to come before your all's approval anyway.
Yeah, as long as we can control it with the only thing I said was we need
Yes.
to control it from that 10,000 to 25 with the quotes, and make sure either they're using state contract or make sure what we're doing. Because, you know, we had some problems in the past, but not now.
Okay.
And one of the things it's gonna do, it's gonna save us, putting all the ads in the newspaper.
Don't frown, Robbie.
He's against it.
It will save us some.
But if you all are good with that, there will be an ordinance on the agenda for you all for the first read.
She did say that most of the cities have gone to that because of the costing. Of everything. She's working on it. We should have it hopefully by the meeting next week.
Y'all have any questions on this?
Thank you, Terry.
Okay. Item number 5 on the agenda, discussion on Brantley Lane. You know, council a few years back voted to cut that Brantley Lane down there at the train track where everybody drives over the bank, down there at station number 2. Council voted to, Philip, you was on here when you all voted to cut that road down. I met with Casey, and Casey is ready to, try to get started on this thing if you all are good with it, but what he is recommending, which he's not here tonight, like I said, he had something to come up. What he is proposing by next week to get everything located down there, and he is going to get a price quote on renting an excavator with a hammer on it, because there's rock down there. We don't wanna put a new hammer on, a hammer on that new excavator we've got, because those hammers are really hard on those machines. And, he wanted me to let you all know that's where we were at with that right now. If you all still concur to move forward with cutting this road down, to bringing it down to where you don't have that big shoot off over there at Brantley Lane. Y'all have any questions on that?
No. How does that work with what the state's doing on Brantley and Gibson?
Well, they're gonna try to concur it. That's the reason why he's trying to get that done, is for when they do those railroad crossings there at Brantley Lane, it will tie it all in together down there.
Yeah, because I know that we've paid the state to do that.
And that was voted on before, we know that for a fact?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, it was. And we had that discussion several times, did we not? You was part of that, wasn't you, Stephanie?
As far as here.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know you was here.
You asked, y'all voted on it to do that.
Yeah.
And
Place in there.
and by the way, Brantley, Gibson Lane, I believe it's on Dawson Bridge. We gotta remember, we gotta pay that $300,000
Mhm.
sometime later on.
Yes.
So, but we discussed that before.
Well, that's been approved too.
Yeah,
is it
right,
not?
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on that?
No.
Okay. Item number 6 on the agenda, approval of an event permit for Coolidge Ridge Missionary Baptist Church together in the rear parking lot of the City of LaFollette Municipal Building on June the 15th at 7 p.m. Mr. Robbins was here last month, and they done their service in the rear parking lot. He is requesting to do it again in June. So that application is in your packet for you all to approve, but it will be a prayer like they did before.
What was the time limit on that? Do you know?
What was the time limit for being out there? And I bet they weren't out there 30 minutes last time they were here. Any other questions on that?
No.
Okay, fire department. Item number 1 under fire department, approval of promoting Jacob Wagner to a full-time firefighter at a salary of $31,077.47, effective May the 6th, 2023. This comes on the recommendation of Chief Jimmy Pack, and I concur with his recommendation. Chief Pack?
Yeah, he's working part-time right now, currently in the EMT class. Should be graduating, he's doing his clinicals now. So he's been doing good.
That will be on the agenda, okay? Under police department, approval of promoting Nicholas Markham to a full-time patrol officer at a salary of $35,596.86, effective May the 6th, 2023. This comes from the recommendation of Chief Steve Wallen, and I concur with that. Chief Wallen?
Yeah, Mr. Markin just put himself through the Cleveland State Police Academy, graduated a couple weeks ago. He started working with us prior to the academy, doing his training, did really well. He's still in training as after he graduated. He's been working every day since then. I think he's gonna do a good job, so I'd like to bring him on full-time with us.
I talked to him first, but I haven't, she gave me the revision. But I think what was gonna have to do with it is you have to get out 5 balance.
Okay. Well, you want to just wait on it then?
just discuss it, and if I can get to it before you vote on it, I'll do it.
Okay. Item number 2, under Police Department, discussion of printers in the LaFollette Police Department. The police department have got inkjet printers. The administration side of the office is under Novatech, or that is Novatech right there.
It is.
Our printers are under Novatech, which we don't buy cartridges or anything, it's part of the contract. We are wanting to move the police department from actually purchasing all the supplies for those printers that they're having to, because they're spending a lot of money on inkjet cartridges and things of that nature. They got a price for us, and it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $8,000, wasn't it, Terry?
Is it Novatech or HP?
It's Novatech, HP, but they're through Novatech.
Yeah, okay, all right, yeah.
Terry, do you have anything you wanna talk about on that line item there?
Well, we looked at the first proposal, and then they revised it and reduced the number of printers. And, I started looking at it, but they wanted to lease them, but after I looked at it, it's better to buy them outright, because what's gonna happen is laser printers are gonna last way longer than an inkjet, and you'll have them, time you do the lease things on them, you'll have to start all over again, and these printers are last longer than that, so it'd be advantageous to purchase them. But I was looking at it, we may have to take out fund balance if it's $8,000, because they probably don't have it in the budget, but that's a minimal amount.
So what we have now, the printers are city-owned printers,
Yes.
and we're looking to basically replace them.
Right,
Yes.
yeah, they first wanted to lease them, but, as long as these should last, it's probably, in my opinion, more advantageous to purchase them.
Because the laser printers we have, I think mine's like 20 years old, and Terry's probably older than that, and they've held up really well. And I mean, they're not having to buy supplies every time you turn around, because they still service them even though you purchase them from them.
Yeah, if we lease them, we're gonna have to start all over again
Yes.
after 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
When the life of the printer is still feasible.
I've had my printer probably 20-some years.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And mine's that old.
but I'll look at it, I'll probably have it ready for you for that.
Okay. So you'll probably have that ready for the.
Yeah, I'll try to look at it.
Okay.
See how much.
Okay, under Public Works, item number 1, approval promoting Jamie Pack to a full-time sanitation worker at a salary of $28,601.04 effective May 2023. This comes on the recommendation of Mr. Boshiers. I concur with Mr. Boshiers. He is not here, as I said, but I do concur with him on the promotion. Any questions on that?
No.
Under Recreation, acceptance of bid for portable restrooms and concession. In your packet, you actually have 2 bids. The bid on the restrooms was changed, it actually lowered. The original bid came in at $88,000. It was reduced to $60,000. The actual concession came in at $26,863. Mr. Burge? Do you have anything you want to say about them? They meet all specs and.
Yeah,
What's the lead time on these, Johnny?
4 to 6 weeks.
There's a diagram of the restrooms on there. You see it? Okay.
And this is coming out of our money we already had allocated.
It's done now, okay,
So-
yes. That will be
And they're
on,
needed.
oh, they're needed very much so, but those will be on the agenda to approve. Item number 2, discussion on guardrail at Sergeant Park. Let me tell you something. We're gonna have to-
will it, John?
No,
We're gonna have to actually do a bid on that before, I guess what we should do is solicit bid for it, because we had the fence and the gate was hit 1 week, 2 weeks later, it was hit again.
So Do we need the guardrail there, or do we need it coming down the hill to keep them from?
Close the street off.
Well, Johnny's recommendation was put the guardrail in front of the fence, is that not correct?
Yes, at least 30 feet, 40 feet, you know, so. I think we should be good there.
The last one was the guy.
But anybody went down in there until we put that new fence up.
We don't know.
I don't believe they ever did.
I don't know how they got down in there without getting killed, because they missed every power pole.
That first one, I don't.
What were you saying, Chief?
The last one was the guy was actually traveling east on Beach Street and crossed over the left lane and he ran into it. He wasn't even coming off the hill.
Oh, okay.
So Johnny, is your recommendation to solicit bids for from the corner all the way down to the actual gate open?
Yeah, it would require moving the fence down a little bit, but I'd say just do it all, would be best.
How you gonna pay for that?
That's a good question. That was the next question.
I don't know what money.
How you gonna pay, how much do you estimate it to be?
I have no idea.
That's the reason why
It's
we're
not- it's not-
recommending
it's
Is
solicit
that
bids.
guardrail like we just put up on the other streets?
It's high, that guardrail there.
But we're gonna have to do something.
Well, get some bids and we'll see what we
We'll
do.
solicit bids
Yeah,
for it,
okay.
and we'll see where we're
Yeah,
at there.
right.
We ain't got no old telephone posts.
I'd like to commend the police department too on finding these people. They did some old police work in order to do it, so
Twice.
I appreciate your department too.
Absolutely, they did a great job.
And you dogs made it pretty popular.
Let it have.
Huh?
Seen it out on the street.
Oh, they're proud of it. I'm proud of it. Looks great. Huh?
I had an email the other day.
Yeah, they were having it every day. I get to heaven with that homeless people.
Okay. Moving on. Ordinance and resolutions. Ordinance 2023-06, ordinance amending the personnel policy pertaining to bereavement leave. This will be the final reading on that. You all have a copy of that. Item number 2, ordinance 2023-07, ordinance amending Title 8, Section 812 of alcoholic beverages. This will be the final reading on that. You all have a copy of that as well. Do y'all have any questions on those two ordinances so far?
No.
Item number 3, ordinance 2023-08, ordinance abandoning a portion of unopened street located within South 16th Street of the city of LaFollette. This will be the first reading on this one. Do y'all have any questions on, I actually put a map in your all's packet. This was actually passed, 2 months ago in the planning commission. We just got it. Do we have any questions on it, Mayor?
Yeah, you're gonna have, you know that lower
Oh, yeah.
half. The top half is fine, but the lower half is, the one gentleman that's built entirely on it, I went up there and checked it out. And he says the minute that we give them the half, their half, the half's got the drainage problem, and he's gonna sue them to fix the drainage and the city, so.
Well, here was the original recommendation, if I'm not wrong. If you look at the actual, you actually have a site plan, a survey of that in your packet. The original was to abandon a portion which is attached in here that shows the outline of the portion that was being proposed to be abandoned. Due to the fact that structure is built directly in the middle of the remaining part. The planner made the recommendation to abandon the whole entire portion.
Yeah.
My suggestion would be to only abandon that portion that was actually surveyed out. Reed, what do you think? Reed?
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Hey, there you go. Sorry about that. Is this the new one, Stan?
This is the Marlowe tract, yes.
DeMarlo, okay, and he's the one that's built the house?
No, he's actually
entirely?
he's the one that's got the swimming pool and a storage building.
Part of his house, yeah.
I got you. Now, I thought we were abandoning the whole thing, right? Because that's what the recommendation from planning commission was. And that's what the ordinance is, so if we need to change it, we can change it. But are any of the others requesting abandonment of it, or is it just Mr. Marlowe?
No, just Mr. Marlowe's the only one that's requested the abandonment.
Well, is anybody else constructed anything in that right-of-way stand? I can't remember.
Yes, there is. There is a large structure that takes the entire lower section of that out.
And I apologize, I've heard Mayor talking about a drainage issue and some type of issue there. I wasn't aware of that. What's going on there?
Okay, I'm just telling you what the gentleman told me. I stopped to look at him. What he told me was that when we split the property, that his neighbor gets the half that's got the drainage problem. And that he intends to sue because of the drainage problem. And he'll sue the city and the neighbor and make them fix the drainage problem. Of course, his reason being is that he has built a structure all the way across it all. And that's his. I'm just telling you, I'm trying to inform the city of what we could be getting into if we abandon it all. Someday it's gonna have to be, but.
Well, he's even encroached onto the other guy's property. If you look at the survey, he's got 2 corners on the other guy's property.
You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean, I don't care what we do. I can handle that lawsuit, but.
You know, well, he didn't even meet the setbacks then,
That's the
Who?
whoever built it, I mean,
Well, it didn't matter. He didn't
He was
own it.
already on somebody else's property.
He
He was
took
on
the whole
city's
city
property.
street.
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
But you understand what I'm saying? There's a
Yes.
drain down through there, and he said he's gonna see that, is it, I assume that's where the water goes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So he's got it all here.
Mhm.
And part of his,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, he's got a problem if we do that. What do you think?
My suggestion to you is if you're going to abandon it, only abandon the portion that was requested that you received the survey on.
And I'd say also, Stan, we'll make no representations as to, drainage or anything like that. When we deed it to him,
Right.
we could put a reservation there, that we're not making any, it just be a general quick claim deed. We're not making a representation of title or fitness or anything like that. We're just giving it to him.
Right.
Several years ago, they had them survey it, and they had to pay for it.
Well, see, that's what he's done, he surveyed it, he's done paid
We
for
were,
it.
I mean, they asked him what the appraisal was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did. When Lucy was mayor. They started having appraise it and then pay, and.
And we can let it go like it is or do whatever you want to do, but I just know that's what the man says is coming, but
Well,
he's got a problem.
This guy's took a lot of liberty of building half his house, his swimming pool, a garage, and whatever this one little building is, all on city property. If we're going to just give this property up, Reed, is there a way that can be written up to where he assumes all legal responsibilities on that?
Yeah, we could put that in the deed. That's not a problem, Chuck, at all. We can do that, and this is pretty common, by the way. It happens fairly frequently. These old abandoned or unopened right-of-ways are pretty regular, and it's pretty regular as well that folks will build on them.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. And but yeah, we always reserve utility easements across them, and we can also just put limitations as to our representations as to basically it's just deeding over. We're not making any type of representation about the property.
was that road was not open until when, Stan? Last 20 years?
It won't never be
It
open.
ain't never been open.
That road ain't never.
16th Street comes through there?
You're talking about the other road, not the road.
Well, I mean, where the Marlowe house is, the road that comes up through there, that road was never open years ago.
No, till just
Just a
right,
few years ago.
right.
That's what I'm trying to say, and Marlowe, he was built on the city right away there.
Well, now, he's not the problem. He's not the problem I'm
No.
talking about.
No, you're
Problem's
talking
this
about
guy down here.
Down here.
On the end there.
Yeah, well, I understand, I'm just trying to make sure that if we give this guy the property that's built all on city right away here, that he assumes all the responsibility for that drainage.
That plus your taxes.
Yeah.
And there ain't worth nothing to cost.
Right.
But the problem is we go down here, this guy may have a sewer, there's a water thing, I don't know.
Are there a cave or something on that property, Mayor, on this lower portion? of
There's
it?
There's a water drain there some way
Well,
that,
there's
that comes
a
off.
sinkhole.
Yeah, that's what it
Right
is.
there behind the houses there on Ash Street. I mean, on Chestnut Street.
And if you're facing that house, if the guy on the left accepts the property, then it becomes his problem. That's what the guy, he's trying to make problems so they don't do nothing. It's common sense what he's doing.
And all the water used to run into that sinkhole years ago.
Still does.
Unless he's got a problem running his house or something.
Well, the reason he's doing it's real simple.
I wouldn't have built a house that close to that sinkhole.
But I mean, that's my recommendation to you.
Okay.
If you're going to abandon any of it, only abandon the portion that's been surveyed out.
Okay. That's fine with me, I don't care.
Rita, you see an issue with it?
Nope, and then we can maybe even in the motion, for the first and second, the final reading, just, maybe include just a statement that buyer assumes all issues, responsibilities with all aspects of the property, including drainage.
Okay.
It might be worth staying if you go see, not the guy that's got the house, but the guy next to him, and just tell him, say, we'd like to give all that to the other guy, he's done built all over it.
You can't, you
can't give it,
can't do that.
even with his agreement?
No.
Okay.
No, you have to equally divide it, and if, at that point, if that person decides to sell that portion to that person, that's between them.
Okay.
But legally, by law, you have to divide it equally to both property owners on each side. If it's 60 foot, 30 foot to this one, 30 foot to
Yeah,
that one.
well, that makes sense, we've always done that.
That's what they've done in the past.
That's law, you have to do that.
So the neighbor's getting a part of a garage and part of a swimming pool.
Well, the same guy owns property on both sides of the road. Okay, any other questions on that?
No.
That will be on the agenda for you all to vote on. So you're gonna create that ordinance, right, Reed? Reed?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry.
And we're gonna do it only to
Wake
the
up.
surveyed portion that I sent you that plat on.
Correct, I'll just put it on the Marlowe.
Okay, that'll work.
Okay.
Okay, item number 4, resolution 2023-07, authorizing the city of LaFollette to submit an application to the Tennessee Housing Development Agency for Home Grant Program, THDA grant. Terry?
Community Development Partners, and Evan usually does all our grant applications, but they stopped doing these grants. They did our last 3 probably. They stopped doing those 2 years ago, but they are routing those to 2 other agencies that does it for them or helps them. And so Amanda Maynard from Grassroots Planning and Consulting called, and she's coming Thursday. Her office is in Livingston, and she's gonna put the application in for us. It has to be in by May the 12th. And our points, the points to try to get this grant, it's on a point system. It's not LaFollette, it's Campbell County as a whole. Our points are not as good as they could be. Like in 2 categories, our points are, I think, 8 and 6. They could be 10, but we have a chance to get it, we may get it. If the points was higher, it'd be better. But, I've had people calling from the last time we got one, probably get one about every 5 to 6 years. I've had people calling wanting to apply. This grant has changed. 2 grants ago, we built 2 houses and we rehabbed about 3 or 4 maybe. Then the last time they changed it and you couldn't build houses, they actually tore them down before and built new ones. They changed that, you could only rehab up to 40,000. The problem with that is we had some people that really needed that, but the code, everything has, when the person goes out, the inspector, everything has to be brought up to code. And it can be over 40,000. Well, it knocked probably 2 people out of getting one. This time they changed it, you can build houses, new houses, you can rehab, and now they can even do mobile homes. So, if we do get it, if we got a chance to get it, they don't get paid unless we actually get the grant, they don't get administrative fees, we ask that question. So we got a chance to get it to help some people in the fall.
Be great.
That resolution will be on the agenda for your approval. I've got one thing to add. You know, every year we put the flower baskets out on the poles out on Central, and they done some smaller ones out on Tennessee. Those baskets were actually donated to the city by the LaFollette alumni when they first done the first reunion. Well, those baskets, they were in real bad shape. They were falling apart. They had rusted. They were supposed to last 4 years, and we got 15 years out of them. Well, last year they were falling apart, so we had to dispose of them. I actually met with Gail Brown today, and the folks that they purchased those from was a florist out of Kentucky, out of a nursery out of Kentucky. They put those baskets together. They're just like a 24-inch round basket. We got a price quote on those things today, and to replace those on Central only, will be somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000 to $4,500 to replace those baskets. We've actually got the funds to replace them, but I just wanted to get your all's blessings, because it's something that we do here every year, and it spruces up downtown.
Absolutely.
It does look good.
Stan and I actually talked about that, and we just got that new account, the tourism account, and it's got operating supplies in it, and that would technically, we thought, would go into that category for tourism to spruce up the town, and we've got money in that account here. Because we just transferred about $30-some thousand into it, and we're getting some each month. That account's active now.
Any questions on that? Regroup our money.
Can we have a program, I think?
Yeah, you'll help me with that. Any council have anything they want to add?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Ms. Alden, you got anything? Mr. Quainer?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Mayor?
I second.
Mr. Farmer, you're on 30?
Does any department heads have anything they want to add? Anybody in the audience? Motion.
Daddy's.
Meeting adjourned.